So really, what are we looking at when we're looking at relationship in general with other, but specifically with what we desire or what we have in intimate other? And for the purposes of your awakening, it doesn't matter you have a relationship or you don't have a relationship. What matters is, what is the story of suffering? What is the suffering you're telling yourself about either your relationship or your lack of relationship? Yeah. And is it familiar? It is. It is. It didn't originate with this relationship. It's been a theme when you've been in or out of a relationship, one or the other. There's a story about who you are, what you need. And that story is suffering. So just like it's not about your job, it's about how your job generates suffering in your experience. It's not about your health, it's how your health generates suffering. It's not about what other people do, it's how that generates suffering in you. And your willingness to recognize patterns or habits of suffering. Then you have the opportunity to face what is terrifying to face, is that it's all you causing everything. And it's a relief, isn't it? You know, it's not what we wanted, but it's a relief. You could have sworn it was just the way he did it that time, but yeah, it's awfully like the way they did it before. And I saw this with Papaji, you know, I got with Papaji and just fell in love, and I felt like I was the love of his life too. And then I started going in relationship to him as the object. And it didn't work. So I would go from these highs of I'm the star in his life, or he hates me, or he doesn't see me, and I could give you proof for all of that. There was proof, you know, he paid so much attention to me, he ignored me, or he said what he'd said to me to somebody else, and so there was plenty of proof I could line it up. But here I was with this master, which is really the answer to a prayer, which is in general what often relationships are, the answer to a prayer. And I was messing it up. Not for him. He didn't care. He wasn't in a relationship. It was all my drama. And I had to see that I was, you know, he was my father, he was my mother, he's my lover, he's my first teacher, and it was like, wait a minute, stop, this is sickening. It was sickening. And before I could say that, I had to see it. And in seeing it, I had to see there are themes here. And it's something about I'm not good enough, or I'm the best, one of those, or something in between. And I just had to be willing to stop it. And that's what he was saying too, of course. It's not just be willing, but I was hearing that from him. Whatever you are doing, or whatever drama you are doing, whatever story you are doing, just stop it. Just be still, just be quiet, and discover who you are. And from the instant I was really willing to do that in relationship to him, didn't matter how he was treating me, if he was seeing me, how he was treating anybody else. It was totally irrelevant. Because then it's not about, does he see me? It's really about, is seeing here? It's not one object to another. It's telling the truth about what is here. And so that's why this whole topic of relationships has been really alive for people on the calls and in the meetings, because that's where we tend to believe our suffering, most of all, for lots of reasons, physiological reasons, social reasons, and just habitual reasons. So that's what has to be cut. And in order for it to be cut, you have to first recognize how you keep threading it back together. And that's truth-telling. So, is your story of relationship causing you suffering? Not even is that suffering wrong, because that suffering can be the beginning of real inquiry. But first you have to tell the truth. Is it causing you suffering? There may be great pleasure, but are you generating suffering in it? And if you are you willing to stop? Even if it means losing the relationship, which is, of course, your relationship with suffering, your identity as one in a relationship, one of two or one of many, however it may play out. But it's amazing, we can be in our 70s, we can be older, and we're still in relationship with our mothers, or the first kiss, or something that happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So you know that that's not relevant. And yet, there's an attachment to it. So it's really not even detaching from the relationship. It's telling the truth about the suffering and being willing to be free. Are you willing to be free? If everyone in this room has tasted freedom, or you wouldn't be here. And everyone in this room has tasted suffering and the betrayal of freedom, the denial of freedom, and the yes but of freedom, and the proof of the yes but. So it's really with utmost seriousness of intent and willingness of spirit to tell the truth, regardless of what's invested in the lie. To be willing to lose your whole investment, every iota of it, for truth, for freedom, for love, for true relationship. So it's, as always, ultimately very simple, and arriving at the point of simplicity can be extremely complex, multi-layered. But finally, ultimately, it's absolutely simple. What do you want? What do you want for cherished other? And what do you want for yourself? Finally and absolutely. And are you being true to that? And if not, stop the excuse making. That's the habit of suffering. That's paying allegiance to the God of suffering. Just stop. It's some yada 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 that you've told yourself 1,000,000 times plus. Just stop. Just be willing to not have that story. See who you are. See what's here. Okay? It is a challenge of a lifetime, of course, because the way we're made, genetically, species-wise, primate-wise, human-wise, and what gets reinforced in our families, in our schools, in our societies, in our spiritual communities. But so what? That's the way it's always been. So what? That has nothing to do with your freedom. That's the story of suffering. So what? Let it be as it is.